The festival is nigh!
Well, now the players are ready, so we'll go ahead and get underway for Rambler versus Sirius. And here we go. Ratty, center square.
Center square, I am going to go with, Tree Scent Duo.
I'm going Lord of Blood. Remembrance is the center square. That's a very interesting center square. A bit of RNG in it, obviously, because you need to find a good Remembrance, but especially, we see Renala on here, we see Margit on here, but I don't immediately see a lot of other Remembrance plays on this board, so that could be a very spicy center square. Immediately it jumped out to me, the Red Wolf into Renala play, I think is very strong. We see Red Wolf, bottom left corner, Renala, row 2, column 2. I also like that square position because you get 6 unique blocks between those 2 squares.
Yep. Also takes care of a Millicent Invader rush very easily. Yep.
Millicent Invader is the other rush. Red Wolf Renala also would combo with Wet Blades here and potentially set you up for Remembrance on Godric. We also actually have Imbued Keys. I think this is incredibly strong. I'm going to go ahead. Sirius is going to freeze here for a second, but I'll start the board. Right, like this square that you can build, right? You can get squares on all surrounding the center square with this Red Wolf, Renala, Imbued Keys, Wet Blades, all coming off of the early Academy play. I think it's going to be very, very strong on this one.
Yep. And Altis really, again, not that valuable here. I'm seeing like essentially 3 squares. You got Magnus, 5 bosses in Altis, full grown Falling Star Beast. Unless I missed something. Oh, that's really it. And not a ton of reason to do Radon necessarily. Oh, there's Eleonora as well.
Yeah. Also,
so
there
2
is
invaders, which is tough with the Altis bosses.
Starfist on Confessor, but Weathered Straight Sword and better stats on Wretch. The Starfist class are actually pretty good stats, though. I would go Starfist here. I think Red Wolf is the key this game.
It's going to be a great weapon for Red Wolf.
There is counterplay to a Red Wolf, but it's tougher to see because it's more sporadic. It's more so taking advantage of like quick squares early, because you could do something like Millicent Invader, Trolls, Box Needle, Margit parries, and there is Stormveil synergy with Drakes, Crucible Knights, obviously Remembrance, Wet Blades. There are other options, and Stormveil is really strong here too, but I do think you rush Red Wolf.
Yeah. Actually misspoke. There is 5 Altis squares, so if we get to a majority board, whoever's ahead there is going to have a nice advantage. They're all pretty quick.
Also, is Incants only on the board? Rambler started with heal. No, I don't think we have it, though.
No. That's just there. This is... Not rushing Rhea here feels really bad. Also, there are boards where a starting play is good enough that losing it is just... you don't lose the game, right? But it makes it really hard to play following that. Yeah. Those 4 squares getting marked is just like all sorts of annoying pressure.
Also, I will say, I may or may not... Rambler hates the lightning perfume bottle. And I may or may not have named the board Lightning Perfume Bottle. And there is perfume bottles only on the board. If it is Lightning, Rambler will be pissed.
Yep. And that is with how, like, Altis isn't valuable enough. You're getting Dectus early, probably. But if you can get the Lightning Perfume Bottle and Kaled, go through Virgins, because you're definitely going to have Rhea unlocked, almost certainly on this board. Like... That's going to be a pretty powerful play.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's RNG dependent. 20% chance of Lightning Bottle being in Kaled, but it feels like it's more 20%.
It's 50-50. It's 50-50.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I forgot my math. It's 50-50. Either it's there or it's not. That's right. Yeah. That's right. My bad. I started talking actual math there. That's not my realm.
No. It's 50-50. It's always 50-50.
Yeah. And not sure if it's stream delay, but looks like Sirius just a touch ahead of Rambler already here.
It's like a second of stream delay. It's mostly the fact that Rambler plays on a laptop and Sirius has professional streamer PC.
Hey.
Yeah.
The underdog Rambler in the PC specs department here.
Bingo's pay to win. Confirmed.
100%. That's why Nexus is 5-1.
Yeah, it's the only reason.
He's not very good, but he loads fast, so.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know. That's life.
Also, I'm going to end the Gamba here at 50-50.
Hey, like everything in life.
Yep. The odds of everything, odds of winning the lottery, 50-50. Please do not actually buy a lottery ticket. That's not true. Okay, Sirius is going gate front. Rambler does grab the kukris there. I like grabbing those kukris, and there's a way to do it. You need to be careful. You don't want to aggro. Mentioned that Soldier of Godric there, because it'll drain your stamina and make you run that little bit slower. But if you can get those kukris, it's nice because you can pop the balloons in Liurnia.
Yeah, those kukris are big. Running past them always feels bad once you get to Liurnia and realize you're going to be down like at least 4,000, if not, 10 to 15,000 runes.
Yeah, especially for the early pops, right?
Yeah.
Now, I do
imagine
if they both rush Red Wolf, I think there's a huge advantage for Starfist.
I agree.
Base damage on Weathered Straight-Sword is not good. And also, the square off is not as strong on Red Wolf because it has 120 poise instead of 80. Plus, he jumps around a lot, so you can't really farm staggers as much. Square off is super strong against bosses with 80 poise because you can just hit them twice, stance break them, and basically keep them in a loop because it's hit, stance break, hit on the get up, and then find one more hit, and then another stance break and repeat the cycle, right?
Yeah. Which works really well on something like Loomgrave Treecent, Margit, I believe. 80 or 90. He might be 90, but
he's 80.
Okay.
He's 80.
A lot of the early bosses.
You have to know him because he does have a lot of hyper armor. I remember the first time I ever tried square off, I was losing my mind. I was like, I know I'm doing 80 poise damage. Why is he not stance breaking? It's because I was stance breaking him while he had hyper armor.
Not as bad as the Queen of Hyper Armor, Melania, but still not a fun thing to deal with. We will see Rambler foregoing the Liurnia skip. He doesn't believe in it, which incredibly valid.
Yeah. Also, if I'm especially Rambler, I actually skip Halberd check here. I would just grab the Grace and just go straight for Red Wolf. I think it's too strong.
Yeah, this is one of those situations. There's a lot of setup normally involved in getting to Red Wolf. You can do Halberd check, Axe check. You grab maybe the Grace behind the dragon in Crystalline Woods. Especially because you have Star Fists. That Grace is great for the smithing 3s there. But when Red Wolf is of the utmost importance, as is the case here, you kind of ignore all that just to get there maybe 30 seconds earlier, a minute earlier, depending on how many checks you do, because that's going to matter. Red Wolf, a good time for Red Wolf is around 11, 12 minutes, I believe. If you skip everything, I think you can get it quite a bit lower, closer to 10, I want to say.
Yeah, you can get it around, I think like with an absolute rush and a good weapon, you can get it around 10:30 or so.
Yep. That's what I was going to say, around 10:30. Generally, the time is closer to 11, 12 if it's a less contested rush square, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see here. These players are, I imagine, going straight for that. It's just very clearly the best square on the board.
Yeah, and also they're going to know in a second that they are in a straight rush, right? If Millicent was going to be the first square for either of these players, it would be getting marked fairly soon. Yeah.
If it was a torrentless Millicent, it would already be marked or be marked in the next 2 to 3 seconds here. With torrent, around 610, 620, they'll know.
Yeah, and we see, so Sirius doesn't do Halberd check. I wonder if Rambler does.
I mean, Sirius is already pretty far ahead of him.
Yeah.
That could be a really bad check out of Rambler.
And Rambler doesn't go for it either. No, he does go for it.
Oh, Rambler. That might be just enough here to lose him the square.
Yeah, it's going to set him
Margins
back.
are going to be that thin.
And it's bad halberd.
That sucks. He grabbed everything right there.
Yeah, that's a big time loss.
I understand it because if it's something like D-Halb, you can get it online and really make the fight easier. But I think betting on that in a straight up rush like this, like, is not the move.
Yeah, because the only way it's faster in a straight up rush. I mean, with Starfist, I don't even know if it is, but with normal weapons, if you get D-Halb or Banished Knights +8, right, it would be faster. Sirius is going to grab Temple Quarter here, but Rambler is well behind.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, he's too far behind at this point, I think, for the weapon diff to matter enough. Like, yeah,
but I know Sirius is going to go for the skip. I can almost guarantee it. The skip at the start of Raya. But Rambler is kind of banking on a mistake by Sirius at this point.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, talking with Rambler after his match bit last night, and it is that philosophy of like, I'm going to get as much value on my way to a rush square as I can, and if I lose it, I'm at least like ahead on that.
Yeah.
So I understand why he's doing it. Realistically, he can get one of Wetblade's Imbued Sword Keys or Renalis still as well. Like, just losing Red Wolf doesn't lose you those 3 squares at all.
So, Reddy, I just realized we're not sharing chat, so I'll go ahead and send you the knock thing.
Of course, of course. Where the hell is my chat? That's the question. There we go.
All right.
There you go, chat.
Now we are sharing chat.
You're that all was Ginger who had
the really fast bingo. So Sirius is going for the skip here.
It's a fun skip. I don't value it that much.
Sirius messes up, but does get the quit out. And Rambler here just pivots off of Red Wolf. I think he's accepted that he might lose that race.
He knew he was too slow.
Yeah.
This is one thing I wanted to mention before the game started. We kind of got right into it, but I think Rambler, the tactician, very, very experienced bingo player, like way more experienced than Sirius. But Sirius is going to be a lot faster than him still, just with the amount he plays random in Elden Ring. Like,
and he's been playing a lot of bingo here. Like, I think there was kind of the idea of like, oh, Sirius isn't like really a bingo player. That was true at the start of the season, like especially during the qualifiers. It's not true anymore. Like half of the time I see Sirius streaming, it's bingo, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I guess I implied that a little there. I do think Sirius is really good at this point. Rambler is just one of the better bingo minds. He has really interesting ideas that kind of run against what most people think, but he definitely just has the brain for it and really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean,
most players would agree with that. Like that he probably, like we will all go to him for advice outside of maybe a couple of the top end guys.
And even then they still go to Rambler for advice. Is just they have like, it depends on your strategy. Like if you are if you're really fast, you can be committed to like, there is something to the like just betting that like, hey, I'm faster, right? Rambler doesn't subscribe to that, but like I do understand why, like, you know, for instance, Nexus Helios, Nartok subscribe to that, but they also, you know, still listen to Rambler because he is a very strong mind.
Yeah. But on the technical portion, I think you give Sirius the edge on this.
Yeah.
We'll see his Red Wolf fight get started here. Actually, I would expect Weathered Straight Sword to be a little worse than that. I think that's the magic grease.
Yeah, the magic grease helps a lot.
It does also have a blue flask in the back pocket there, which is really good.
Gets hit there. Barely survived.
All right, out of heals. Probably has a poise reset here as well by now.
One more hit will kill him. He's out of heals. and based on the damage it did earlier.
What?
And Sirius does go down.
Does-
Rambler's going for the bushes. You know, the other thing I do want to say about Sirius is, like, I do know Sirius is crazy competitive, right? And I think, like, some of his losses have been very close, and I think that did, like, light a fire under him because, I mean, he's one of the best Elden Ring players in the world. Like, in the world, he finished second or third in Randomania. Like, he's an incredible player and highly, highly competitive individual.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't think it's a coincidence that he started losing and then he's playing bingo more.
Definitely. And it's good to have people like that in the league, right? Keep it spicy. Red Wolf, a boss everyone's familiar with, but that will never stop you from having issues with him.
Yeah, there's just so much that can go wrong, especially when you're trying to rush.
Yeah. It's a really hard fight to actually manage, as opposed to, like, perhaps Margit.
Crazy, man.
Like, with the glintstone blades that spawn, with some of the bite attacks that if you dodge the wrong way on accident, will just hit you no matter what. Like,
yeah.
It's a very frustrating fight to manage on low health and low damage.
And, you know, one thing
here, the square offs, you should be one away. You can get this in right here.
With the mind games, too, Sirius might misevaluate how far ahead he is in Liurnia in Academy. And I could see Rambler, while not getting Red Wolf, he could snipe some of the other squares away from Sirius. We're about to see this Red Wolf mark now.
Yeah, Sirius probably doesn't think Rambler is right behind him here. I think that's a hard read to make. You might guess he went into Liurnia. Maybe you think... I mean, Millicent Incident is not a safe guess here.
Yeah.
If you're trying to read it, that's far too long.
Because, yeah, Sirius is going to check round table here. If Rambler goes and steals Renala, it could be bad. Because that diag is really scary. So I understand why Rambler wanted to go Millicent if you think you're not going to win Red Wolf, because not the Red Wolf diag, but the Millicent Invader diag. That one's very scary, right? Because you do Renala to get a Remembrance that feeds to Remembrance. Also, Renala feeds into Imbued Keys, and then, you know, at some point you go and pick off Garank and Millicent, right? Rambler's already stopped that, and now Rambler is going into Academy. I also see Alabaster from Sirius. Was that
I think that was Round Table?
Or Round Table?
It was one of the two. I was keeping an eye on Rambler, unfortunately, there. But either way, he has Alabasters, which...
Yeah.
Maybe not in the S+ tier of Dragon Halberd, or maybe Dragon Scale or some of those other weapons, but it's close. Alabasters is one of the best bingo weapons.
I love Alabasters.
Charge Attack Talisman, it certainly has an argument.
I think it is, and maybe not, because like there are certain fights where it's not going to perform as well, but the fact that it like is just good stance damage and physical damage universally does well, right? Like it doesn't give you the bonus damage on dragons or the status, so like it's not going to perform the like they're pretty much on any fight. It's not going to be the best possible weapon, but it is very, very good on every fight, right?
Yes, and that is, I agree with you. I think it belongs in that. I had a lot of debates about this actually with the other bingo players. If you're perfect in your fights, I think Alabasters can beat out a lot of the status effect weapons. Because you're going to just get more hits in by virtue of Alabasters using less stamina and you getting more staggers and riposts. The only time that's not as useful is maybe like Magma Worms, where you can't ripost, you're sacrificing damage.
Yeah.
But
and there are fights too where I think Alabasters is just objectively better, right? Like the Gargs.
Yes.
Like full grown, right? Not on sewer mode. Gold
Sirius,
free, right? Sirius struggling with these medium shield parries.
Yeah, I mean the medium shield is something most people have practiced, but it's just not great. Oh my gosh. It's probably a quit out at that point. If
he just dies,
Margit were to do the undodgeable move, there's not a lot you can do.
I don't understand.
Rambler went and checked round table, and now he's doing the perfume bottle check.
I like this from Rambler. Deadly poison perfume bottle.
Oh, this time it
Unfortunate.
isn't.
But I'll take out the Abductor Virgins into alt this play with the Lightning Perfume Bottle. Obviously, if you can get leveled high enough or find another weapon, perhaps Stormhawk Axe with Lightning, that's still a very viable way into Altis. Probably the most viable since they both are already in Rhea.
And I will say this is the point where we'll see what Sirius is here. The one thing I will say is I have seen more mistakes from Sirius in officials than I ever do in practice, right? And, you know, we've seen 2 early deaths here now. So, you know, it just concerns me, right? Like, you don't want him to, you don't want to tilt, right?
Yeah. I believe he has 4 parries. That would be 5, 6.
Ja, das waren 6. No, kill this.
Now he can just fight with a square off sword. Should get a lot more relaxed. I think you can send that. Oh, hyper armor.
Hyper armor, so he will not stance break there.
Stagger?
Hyper armor Sirius, that's why no stagger.
Oh,
and he got lucky. That's a good follow-up. He could have easily done the wombo combo spinny thing. And you don't want to be that far out in front on that. Sirius, no flash left. And he has Margit low, but...
Close. Gotta be a little careful here.
Rambler's grabbing the imbued key. He might also set up Feroth as well. We will see.
Actually manages to space that attack, normally undodgeable if you're in close.
Yeah.
Should be another stagger.
Nice.
This will put him close.
I think a riposte into square off will kill.
Nope, just the riposte was enough.
Yep. Rambler grabs a Drake and an imbued key there, though.
Yeah, Rambler making some good efficiency plays. Margit 6 parries here. Understandable as an early square. Maybe
got Margit.
Not the most value for Sirius in terms of position and what he could go for. Does unlock his second wet blade, though, which will put that diagonal online.
Yeah, positionally it doesn't do a ton for him, right? But it does give him a square. And one thing that I do like and I think is underrated is if both players are going to do something, Rambler's most likely going to kill Margit at some point for either Remembrance or Crucible Knights or Drake Talismans, right? Like you might as well be the one to take equity out of it. Wet Blades as well, right?
Yeah, Stormveil is, I think we're talking a lot about Rhea, but Stormveil is actually pretty decent on this board as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both legacy dungeons decent enough to pay off. It is, I mean, with Millicent Invader, it is that thing we said where like he might not worry too much about getting Rhea done as quickly.
I think Rambler might go Renala right now. Or imbued into Renala.
Yeah, either way. I feel like imbued is a bit of a safer option, perhaps. Early Renala can be pretty rough.
Yeah, he's going to go for Red Wolf here.
Yeah, as he does this, Sirius will be getting his weapon online at EG, +4 Alabasters. I mean, looking at this board, that's going to be pretty great. You have full-grown Falling Star Beast will be great on later. Crystalian Trio it'll be very good on. Both Invaders it's pretty usable on. Not ideal.
I think it's pretty damn
enough.
good against Invaders. The tap R2s stun lock a lot of them.
Yeah. Not as good as perhaps a Great Spear or Halberd, but we're talking about ideal weapons to have. Right.
It's very good.
Rambler with some magic balls. I always knew he had it in him. Yeah, that's one of those awkward glint blades you can get right there in the sword swing. He had to space the sword swing in order to dodge it, which is pretty great execution, honestly. A lot of people might try to dodge both, which I don't think we can pull off. Here comes the riposte. That should... not as much damage as I expected. Gets him close, though. It's a bit of an awkward range for the triple glint blades. Luckily, Red Wolf goes into a second set instead of jumping at him.
One more charge or two should do it.
Yep. Anything at this point,
anything,
it's a great move. There we go, Rambler, great work.
And Sirius is actually going Lion Guardians now, or at least killing the first one.
Interesting.
I don't love this. I would grab the. I understand killing it now. Personally, I would grab the Grace and go back. But he does. I mean, he does have a +4 Alabaster and make quick work of it. So.
Yeah, it gets you pretty far ahead. Is he gonna skip the Drake Talisman?
He might have skipped the Drake. Rambler's now going to EG. He's gonna go +4. It looks like. Also super minor, but Rambler does have the Michelin Light Ring helmet or whatever to help him get Int for Alabaster and Arcane for Deadly Poison Perfume Bottle.
Yeah, I mean, you always take extra strats when you can find them. It's a pretty underrated piece of bingo that I think is valued very highly by a lot of the players is the stat boosting helms. Especially the DLC ones can give +5 in some major stats like strength or dex.
Yeah,
which is super valuable. Starting at like 20 strength instead of 10, you get a good class of strength. Like at 15 +5 is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that like if you're just watching or whatever, you might not notice as much, but like for the players, like half the time you check merchants, you're looking for stat boosting helms. Like you're looking for weapons and stat boosting helms. It's something that we don't talk about a ton because it is very nerdy, right?
Yeah.
But like it matters so much.
Okina Mask. Oh my god, my 3 decks. Let's go.
Yeah.
Which is actually exactly what happened in my game. I had Okina's Mask for Dragons Hunters, so it is something that helps a lot. If you can save like 3,000 runes for getting your weapon online in terms of stats, that's a Smithing Stone Somber 2, right?
Yeah. Also, I see a question
economy value
in chat about the Remembrance weapons. So they are a little different, right? So Remembrances are randomized with Remembrances. They are in their own pool behind the Remembrance items. That being said, we have done some stuff to boost your odds, right? So we've removed spells. You cannot get a spell. You cannot get Renala's Staff. You cannot get the Divine Beast Talisman or something like that. I don't think you can get the Star Scourge Greatbow either, or the Lion Greatbow, whatever it is. You can only get actual weapons, right? So your odds are boosted a bit because basically all the unusable garbage for that square is not there. But
it's no longer there.
But there is an element.
It was there at one point, and it made that square pretty frustrating.
Okay, apparently you can still get the bow, but I know you cannot get the spells or the talisman or something, or the Ashes of War, right? Because if you get those, like they're just not usable.
Yeah, I think the main thing is is it 3 staffs being taken out of the pool? I think Matir gives you 2 and Renala gives you 1. The staffs and spells being out
Matir's 1 in a spell.
Oh yeah,
because the other staff that looks just like it is from
Ymir. Correct. Elden Ring nerds band together. Where does this weapon come from?
Now Rambler might snipe Sirius on imbued keys here. This would be really big for Rambler.
Yeah, this is by far the one that is the longest run. I don't think Sirius went up to the 3rd key. I don't know why he would have. So this will be a nice little.
He's actually going lions though. He's going for the other lion.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, sorry, and we were wrong too. That's not a spell. It's the gazing or glazing finger is the other one.
Gazing finger.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's a funny weapon.
And Rambler's actually going to Renala.
I wonder if.
I mean, this could get super nasty. I think Rambler is. I've said this before. If you're gonna rush a bingo, it should be a diag. Rambler is disguising his prep on imbued keys. He has 2 of them. He's going to go try to kill Renala here. After Renala, immediately go get the 3rd. And if he wins Renala imbued keys, he's also ahead on Remembrance, right? Because he has a Remembrance. We'll see what the weapons are. And then he can force Sirius into a very early Garong. Rambler, they're quitting out after Yura not pulling a Ginger and just full sending it up the ladder despite having very little heals.
Oh, yeah, that is a stressful thing to watch.
Yeah. I don't think Sirius has accounted for this because Rambler, Rambler plays differently. right? Like he plays.
Sirius could be thinking like either a major incident somewhere or perhaps Altis prep, right? Like when your opponent hasn't marked something in the first 30 minutes, that's a good gamble.
Das ist noch, was ich dringend mal lernen muss.
He could think maybe, yeah, now he's pushing Rhea. I'm unlikely, but you never know. Oh, the Mountain Goat line's activating. Oh, God.
Rambler's in phase 1. This is just phase 1, so we'll stay with Sirius as he fights the lion.
This is my least favorite lion. He does all sorts of wild shit. Looks like it's going to be a clean mark here. And I was a little worried Sirius was just doing that to block row 1, but if you look at column 4, with the prio he probably thinks he has in Rhea.
Rambler's going to have to be fast here, though, because I think Sirius is going imbued keys now. This is maybe the most aggressive opener I've seen from Rambler.
Yeah, and he might end up having to pay for it a bit, which sucks. So he's 1 key off right now.
Yeah.
He could have easily grabbed that key and also run back to Renala. But we could see Sirius also maybe pivot into his whetstone knives here and try to get both. That would save Rambler the time, but if Sirius just pushes these keys, he gets them.
It's going to come down to, well, also unless this fight's crazy fast. He has the damage, the question is just the RNG.
True. Sirius will need all 3 keys, which does take a couple minutes. Blue slurp.
And Sirius is actually going for trolls first. He's going for bulls.
Okay. And this is that moment where it's a hard read for him. He's kind of probably thinking, let me get everything ready to go. I mark a bunch of squares at once. Because what's Rambler doing? I don't know. You can get to a point when you're kind of lose your opponent like this, where you get really uncertain of your plays. Everything feels valid.
Also, only 1 summon from Rambler, but it's kind of fine because he still has to do a lot of damage here.
Come on.
Yeah, the fight.
Sirius is fighting bulls.
Oh, come on.
She's getting... This is horrible RNG for Rambler. Sirius is fighting a troll, but Rambler's getting trolled.
2 trolls in the making. I think that was Dragon Summon. We could have had a troll summon, it would have been 3 on the board.
Okay, Sirius kills bulls there.
Oh.
And the dragon's not going away.
This happens on occasion. Can be really
okay, now the dragon goes away. Oh, God. Rambler needs... That's the last summon for Rambler. He just needs to get the kill now.
And it's the wolves, which make the kill a lot easier. I believe it's 1 R2. On R2 into an R1 will do it. Oh, he's getting trolled. You gotta go for it.
Rambler gets it.
That'll be big.
Now the question is he faster than Sirius on imbued keys? Rambler already has 2. Sirius is climbing up, but he does have to grab the 1.
Yeah, Sirius has the longest run maybe left through the rooftops. It's all going to depend on how fast Rambler can get out of here.
I think Rambler's ahead. I think Rambler gets this. Ahead. The Bull's greed. And Sirius might get forced into really early Garong.
Yeah, because he's the other option is go kill a Remembrance boss, which would be Renala into Godric. He does have Margit dead. But this is actually just really, really good out of Rambler. Because he can also go get 4 Drakes here. That'll shut down row 5 if he wants to let him block on Garong.
You know, you could get the Fabled Pearl Drake.
Yeah, Pearl Drake is actually a really valid Drake talisman. Me and Rambler talk about this play a lot.
So
Me and Rambler both love the idea of this.
If you don't know, there's 3 gateways up here. The first one takes you to Scion. The second one takes you to Underground. There's a Crucible Knight there. And then the third one takes you to Farum. And basically the only thing there is Pearl Drake +0.
Yep.
And Rambler's gonna should, unless disaster somehow strikes, Rambler should snipe.
And actually, yeah, Crucible Knight and a Drake Talisman out of imbued sword keys is something we didn't really talk about, but you do get access to an extra Talisman, an extra Crucible Knight that aren't seen as often. Please, Rambler, do it. Oh, please.
Rambler gets imbued.
Fuck wie, Mann! Hätte ich Boltzmann nicht gemacht.
Fuck me, man, followed by angry German noises. Rambler checks the remembrance. We'll see what it is.
It's not necessarily for the line, it's for information.
Has to get through 8 years of dialogue first. Hold on.
And we see Rambler say that this is not necessarily for the line. He wants information. He wants to know what it is. Godric's great axe. Axe of Godric is usable. Pull Blade of the Blood sucks.
Yeah. You probably grab Axe of Godric now.
Yeah.
With Soar Seal.
Rambler, make a decision. Make a decision, dog. I think he's debating popping it, or just keeping it. Rambler, what do you?
That might be Radon.
Well, he went Pull Blade of the Blood because he needs Arcane anyways for the Deadly Poison Perfume bottle. I know that's why he was thinking of that. That's why it was a consideration.
It's a better stat. Sirius gonna probably go for middle square here.
Also, you might be able to do Godric without the Arcane. I'm not sure what the damage looks like. If you +4 it and don't have the Arcane, I think you're probably fine. Sirius is going for Godric now because he wants the block. The idea is to do Remembrance on Rennala. The thing that I hate about Remembrance on Rennala is that it's a long fight, and if you're physic dependent, you can run out of time. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you do have enough runes to +4 and get online whatever you're gonna go for here, hopefully. 28,000. Maybe not.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rambler actually just goes Wet Blades here, though.
Yeah. Wet Blades is really good for him. He can push Sirius towards that Godskin Apostle and Kaled. That is really annoying.
Yeah. Well, he could be worried about the counter bingo, right? He knows that Sirius has Margit and Red Wolf dead, so he's decently prepped for Remembrance, right? If Sirius does win Remembrance, the counter bingo on the other diag for Sirius could get sketchy, right? So that might be why I would expect him to go Wet Blades here, actually, instead of Remembrance.
Prio's also a very valid block here for Rambler. Because he
And
can also get the Drake Talismans much faster.
Yeah.
Unless Sirius did grab that Grace up by the imbued sword key.
Not great. Gazing Finger. I mean, that works.
I guess the finger muss es sein.
Pretty hefty and spread out.
I mean, honestly, though, that's pretty similar remembrances that they, I think the Finger's probably on this very similar tier to Axe of Godric and the other one.
Yeah. The innate rot on the...
I pray to God
Saint of
Sirius
the
doesn't
Blood,
punch the kids.
Blade.
I'm very concerned that he will.
Yeah, a mismark here is actually one of the bigger worries.
Yeah.
Is he just going to go in with it unwieldable?
He's rushing too much.
This could be a very, very costly mistake if this weapon's damage is not...
Yeah.
Colossals do tend to have more damage unwieldable than other weapon types.
Yeah.
It could definitely be doable, depending on how confident he is with Rennala.
Yeah.
He does a lot of rando. He's used to her hitting hard. I imagine he's very comfortable with the moveset.
Yeah. Also for Rambler here, he's going Stormveil. My guess, though, just knowing Rambler, is that his idea is to do Wet Blades first, and then at that point, if he gets Wet Blades, fuck it, send Remembrance, right? But get Wet Blades first to cover yourself on a counter.
For sure. Chat said Gazing Finger isn't colossal. Just looked it up. Yes, it is.
No, it's int colossal,
Oh.
as in it's magic damage.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay, he is using the colossal on the kids, so he doesn't have to worry about a mismark. Rambler gets that down. I mean, this could be I don't know, a 12 cycle.
We'll see.
Actually,
You know what?
that bad. Still probably a 3 or 4 cycle, especially because his the stamina cost is really gonna hurt him in phase 1 here. That's a 4 cycle.
Yeah.
Was ist das, ein 5 Cycle?
Oof.
Is
It's probably what Rambler was looking for out of this line, right?
yeah.
Get him to waste a colossal amount of time.
Wow, you're learning from me. What a shitty pun.
And you'd like that one. Mythical 5 cycle, perhaps even?
Gott, Stamina ist ein Riesenproblem mit der
We
Waffe.
can see some mistakes
Yeah,
here.
the damage is good enough for a 4 cycle, but he's just taking the 5 cycle. The problem is the stamina. If he didn't have the extra stamina, for you guys who don't know, if you cannot wield a weapon, there is a stamina penalty. It does extra stamina. It takes extra stamina as well. The damage is good enough for a 3 cycle, or the 4 cycle, but stamina is the enemy.
Yeah. I think Sirius's starting class had decent stamina. I believe Ramblers had 9, which would make Colossals even more problematic than they already are.
Also, I know Rambler like the back of my hand. He is going Wet Blades.
Yeah, look at that. Perhaps we see a mythical poison perfume on the Virgin Duo.
Yeah. It's just too scary. Like losing Wet Blades, like losing Remembrance, and then immediate Wet Blades. All of a sudden, like you're under the exact pressure that you put Sirius under, right?
Yeah. You need to
just
choose
can't
one of
afford it.
those
Yeah.
2 squares. I don't hate Putrid Crystallian Trio either, but I do think Wet Blades is better.
Also, Row 2 is a bit of a problem too. Perfume Bottles only,
Yep.
Godskin Apostle, and 5 bosses KO Dragon Barrel. Like those are not easy squares to block, especially on a board where Altus isn't super strong. Like the easiest block would be Perfume Bottles, but there's not a super reason to go into Altus right now. And Rambler's even setting up Crucibles here. He has full access to Crucibles because he has the one at the Belfries, which I'm sure he knows about. There's no way he doesn't know about that.
Oh, wegen der so weit weg war, krieg ich jetzt nicht.
Chat
die
calling a
Taste.
6 cycle. I haven't been keeping track.
Yeah, he just couldn't afford to literally just does not have the money to upgrade the Colossal.
No.
He could have
Considering
maybe
it's still-
plus one it.
It's not fully unwieldable. I think he has the physical requirements for the damage.
Yeah. He has to. The damage is actually not that bad. It's just the endurance. It's the endurance that's killing him.
Yeah. And I understand the pressure he feels here and why he's doing it, but
Gucken wir mal, wie Renala wird.
Gronk would have been probably the better choice at this point, because you would have had a couple tries on Gronk in this amount of time.
I also will say, tech for people if you have to play Rambler.
Das wird eine Katastrophe.
Rambler doesn't rush bingos. Like he kind of. I have learned a lot from him, and a lot of my philosophy comes from him. Don't rush a bingo early unless it's a diag, right? Like if it's a diag, that's when you have to be worried about Rambler rushing something on you. If it's not a diag, you can be less concerned. But because a diag is so strong offensively and defensively, I mean, already there's only 4 bingos left for Sirius, and Rambler has 3 squares.
Oh, Stamina ist...
Or sorry, no, 5
Leben
because of the
frei
diag.
gerade.
Yeah, this is the beauty of making a good bingo threat, right? Once you push your opponent into something that takes a while, you have the time to go steal Prio that might have been had on Wet Blades.
Ach, bitte, hör
You
auf
can
zu
get
trollen!
1,
Like,
2,
what the fuck is
3
this?
squares in the time it takes your opponent to finish up the square they need to get done. You can get map
And
progress.
Rambler buys
just
the
puts you
Arcane
so far
Talisman.
ahead.
He might be going for Godric, and if Sirius takes too long, Rambler could snipe this.
Yeah. I have to imagine it'll be fine. I don't think Rambler has the time to kill Godric here.
Depends on the summons and how much she trolls.
Summons an und die Summons sind das Problem.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna get Ronaldo plus 10 summons at this rate.
True.
5 cycle Ronaldo with 10 summons, new square.
Ach so, ja dann.
Thank you, Sirius, for that cursed
Der muss
fucking
mich
idea.
abwarten. Like, ich kann nicht angreifen, während der da ist, wenn ich safe spiele.
No!
What the fuck?
No. Oh, God.
Och, Alter, meine Kamera war drin gebuggt.
Oh, God.
He has to go Garrosh. Like, this is why you don't save Ronaldo for remembrance.
Yeah, if you have something wieldable and you can level it up, I think that's a fine play.
Rambler even making use of the fact that he knows he has... Taking note of the fact that he has the Mikola helmet for an extra level of Arcane is now going to level up. Now going to level up the Pull Blade of the Budwell, like, as well. This is just a difference of, like, a very aggressive player like Sirius, who's just, like, go now, versus Rambler, who's very tactical and, like, willing to sack time now in order to get efficiency later.
Yeah, what really hurts here is Sirius getting Red Wolf, but losing
Everything
the other
else.
3 Rhea squares.
Yeah. I mean, other 4 if you count Remembrance.
Yeah.
No, he will not switch to Full Blade over Alabaster. There's a chance he uses it to, like, proc Rod or something, but this thing is not good. It's not a good weapon.
It'll be, plus whatever it is on Godric will be fine.
Yeah, it could be useful to proc Rot and then switch to something else.
Definitely.
But yeah, you can see even like the status build up on it is not great. That took what, like 6 hits to proc Rot?
Something like that. I think it has 55 rot buildup. Actually, I've never really seen this weapon in action. The moveset looks very interesting.
It has the poop stick moveset. Poop stick is Loretta's War Sickle, by the way. Yeah, there's remembrance for Rambler.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, to be honest, Rambler might look for the bingo here. Because it is true, like, bingos are a tiebreaker. I know Rambler's already concerned about tiebreakers. So the way the tiebreakers work in this league, the first tiebreaker, like, obviously first is record, second is head-to-head, and then third tiebreaker is bingo. Fourth is square count.
Yeah.
So Rambler might look for the bingo.
Meanwhile, Sirius maybe making the correct call here and saying, even if I rush Garronk and beat him to it, it won't matter. Let me at least try to get, like, Death Root out of this first.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree. I dislike the bingo tiebreaker as well, but that's like you gotta you gotta call it at some point, right? Like after record and head to head, it becomes very hard to differentiate, right, in terms of tiebreakers.
Okay. The game is called bingo.
Yeah.
And winning by bingo takes a lot of skill.
Yeah.
I feel it's not something you just do.
And like you can't have the next tiebreaker be square count, right? Because if you rush bingos, then your square count's lower, right? Yeah.
And I love seeing Rambler here sticking to fundamentals. He could rush Garronk, but is instead going for his 4 Drake talismans to ensure the final block. Not final, second to last block he needs here on row 5.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Drakes and then Crucibles, and then if it's still there, Garronk. Play very principled to get all your blocks, and then rush bingos. Also, I gotta say, obviously, like, I'm To be fair, I'm friends with everyone in this league. Thank God. It's actually a blessing. Well, true. But like, you know, I am happy for Rambler. I think he didn't feel great about his last 2 performances, the Helios game and the ASIM game. He's looked very strong here today.
Yeah. What's Rambler doing?
Drakes.
Oh, yeah. There's the Drake Talisman down here.
Sirius is going Deathroot. Yeah, because I think Sirius's idea is to go Deathroot into Garronk into killing Garronk, right? Because that's the other thing too for Sirius, right? You need to block the Diag, but also you want to keep your bingos alive. And Sirius can't kill Garronk now because then he forfeits Deathroot. So he has to do Deathroot first.
It's a really heads-up play. I think it's something a lot of people would just ignore when they see that bingo threat because Garronk is not... It's not a fun fight. It's not easy, but 47 minutes in, yeah, you're probably thinking your opponent will go for it. But also, if you just go for it, you're in a 5-4 game. Rambo will have all that time to do anything else. If he doesn't race you, like, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's too much left on the board that'll be easy. And I guess we know Rambler's probably more ahead on Altis, like...
Yeah.
I think that may be a harder assumption to make in Sirius's position, but he is calling out, I need this bingo threat, and...
The column 5 could be decent for Sirius, right? I think Rambler does have big prio on... is better set up for Crucibles, right? But Sirius has a Troll dead, is going to get Deathroot and potentially kill Garronk, right? He could immediately start putting pressure on that column 5, which, to be fair, is not the line that I would expect pressure from if I'm Rambler. I would have expected pressure to come on row 5.
Yep. And unfortunately, we don't see the fabled spell or Pearl Drake tech from Rambler in this game. Very unfortunate.
You know, he might be looking at... This might be a bit of a snipe because he might be looking at Deathroot as well.
I think so.
I actually think this might be a bit of a mistake from Rambler in the sense that I think you go to Garronk first.
I mean, you have to... It's safe to assume your opponent just wants to kill Garronk at this point. So maybe Rambler's assumption is we'll be able to get Deathroot no matter what. It's uncontested. Yeah.
It is kind of crazy that Bach is still on the board, but like early game, it's just been bingo pressure, right? So
yeah,
sometimes these really early squares can just sit because of bingo pressure, right? But actually, that would be another bingo that Rambler could build. He could do Box Needle into Fist, and then build the column 3 as well.
Yeah, and we know he's ahead on Altis as well, so that could be pretty valuable.
Rambler is going to try to go for this Tibia here. This will end up being worthless because Sirius already has his 3 Deathroot. God, that Ash looks cool, but it... How do you control that?
That's horrendous.
Yeah, it looks real cool, but how do you control that? Gets the rod off on the Tibia, and now switches to Alabaster.
Wasn't sure if the rot was going to be worth it right there, to be honest, but seeing the damage out of Alabaster probably was.
Sirius is going to go finish Trolls. He's going to try to put pressure on this bingo. I think the idea is going to be Trolls and to feed into Garronk.
I really like that, actually.
Yeah, I like it a lot from Sirius.
Feel a little crazy watching it, just in terms of like, oh, you need to block that bingo. Garronk's right there. But you don't want to lock yourself out of Deathroot if this goes to majority.
I mean, also, he's playing to win, right?
Yeah, you need something to win here. Like, if you get bingoed and lose, so be it. But your best way to win is really just, blasting 3 squares right here.
Yeah, it's obviously very greedy, but like he's down 6-3, right? Like even if he blocks Garronk, like he's still losing, right? Going greedy is probably his best way to win. And I'm kind of proud of the guys. I've seen players do this a lot where it's like, hey, I know I'm being greedy and pushing into something that like might get me bingoed, but it's my best way to win. And I've actually been really proud of the guys for doing that, because I know there is like, you never want to lose by bingo. It doesn't feel good, but at the end of the day, like the goal is to win. And this is a winning play by Sirius, even though it looks so scary.
Yeah. Staring straight down the barrel and just saying, I got this.
Yeah. He needs to go Deathroot right after this, though. If he tries to greed Crucibles too, I mean, Rambler is hot on his tail. And plus, this is just going to be a snipe if he does go right after this, because Rambler is just wasting time on Deathroot. Just completely wasting time.
Yep. He did grab the painting Grace in Liurnia to set up GGG, which, honestly, like, it is a waste of time, but it's also, I really like it. I guess he has the teleporter, though, in Rhea. Unwieldable Alabaster was bouncing there. There's the troll down.
Rambler sees the troll's mark and just stays committed. But now Sirius is going to go feed. The craziest play from Sirius would be to go Crucibles. To feed and then go Crucibles. It might be the winning play, but it's insane. But it would be the winning play, I think.
I don't disagree. I also think feed, kill Garronk, tie up the game a little bit, and then have it a little more even here. You're going to be 7-6, 6-6 by the time you kill Garronk.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he's really not down that much, right? It is.
Yeah, if he gets these two squares, like, it's almost tied again. I think it is worth it.
It is tied again, yeah.
And like leaving Garronk open this long was the right move, but a bit crazy. I think leaving after you feed Deathroot unless you have something you can do real quick, like maybe Soldier of Godric Bare Fist, you could go do. Because your opponent may assume always having an incident.
Sirius does mark the square. Rambler sees it. I wonder. All right, now Sirius is going for the kill. I bet Rambler goes Crucibles. Yep, Rambler does go Crucibles.
It cannot be overstated how brutal of a fight Garronk is early.
He should be able to take a shot, though.
Yep. That helps a lot. And it's not necessarily, I think everyone's really familiar with Garronk's moveset, but he does hit decently hard. And the real issue is the pillars within the arena, I think. They just can get in the way in really irritating ways.
Yeah, I mean, this is not intended, but like there are some bad FromSoft arenas. There are some great ones too, but there are some bad ones. And it's especially bad when you're fighting someone in an arena that isn't intended to actually be an arena, right?
Yeah. Garronk's supposed to be your guy. They don't make it easy to fight him.
Sirius is out of heals.
Yeah.
He can get a heal from a riposte with that Assassin's Crimson Dagger. It might be just enough for him to survive one more shot. And actually, heads up, did have the 50% heal tier in the physics. Now, Rambler did also set up Crucibles. He has the Grace. Sirius goes down. So Rambler's going for the Crucible here. He also has the Grace in Stormveil to set up the second Crucible, and I believe he should have the Belfry's Grace for the third.
Yep. There's also something to be said here about the Crucible Misbegotten duo with two Misbegottens on the board.
Yeah, I just don't think if you're Rambler, you can afford to go for it.
It is pretty out of the way.
Yeah. Nice job by Rambler.
But honestly, that two Misbegottens is maybe the most out of the way square on this board right now. It's that or GGG. Great goose glove work. The second Garronk fight looks like it's starting a little better for Sirius here. He still has most of his heals. This is just an awkward spot for him to stand right on the side of this pillar. Oh, and doesn't quite get the strafe and goes down to the follow-up. Oh my goodness. I think you can reasonably expect maybe a Garunk incident, like not an incident, but a death or two when you come here, but that doesn't make it feel any better.
Konzentrier dich. Das Problem, das hat nichts mit Konzentration zu tun. Ich kann den
There really is no pivot for Sirius either. He does need to get this done.
Yeah. The only pivot would have been going Crucibles right after doing Death Root, but the second you start wasting time fighting Garunk, you've committed, right?
Yep.
Also, Rambler made a bit of a mistake. He didn't grab the Grace at the Belfries, so he has to run all the way back up. Uncharacteristic of Rambler, but a big routing mistake.
It's also why we didn't see the fabled Pearl Drake. Unfortunate. I'm gonna be really mad at Rambler about that for a while. It's fine. It's fine.
Ja, awesome, Mann. Ich hitte die Wand.
Oof, gets caught by the downward slam there of one of the claw attacks. Not a hit you usually see, and maybe one you're less aware of as you fight this boss.
Nice stun.
Yep, that should be
About half health after the riposte and the charge chart too. Rambler might be going Garunk. I think he's double prepping, trying to like setting up Crucibles, because there is a chance that Sirius does go Crucibles first. So to put pressure on that bingo. So Rambler's idea was kill one Crucible, the other two are both set up, and now go for Garunk, right? If it gets marked, it's okay because you have Crucibles.
Yep, just ready to go Crucibles. There's
another nice stun there.
Dagger.
Also, it's never bad to get Third Church. That's closer to Fort Height. Also, you get your physic and a Sacred Tear.
Yeah. Third Church maybe not as meta as it has been in previous seasons, but always a great grab.
Yeah, Celia Skip has really changed the meta with Celia Skip killed Third Church.
Yeah. Really, the only reason to actively go to Third Church is like if you have Physic Tears on the board, need to get a weapon online, or have Duelists or Garand.
All right, nicely done by Sirius. He gets it. Rambler will probably grab Third Church here and then pivot to Crucible. I would grab Third Church Rambler. There. Doesn't even go get it.
Skips it. Wow. But I mean, if
I understand why though, because Sirius took some time, so it's very possible that Sirius killed something. Yeah, it's possible Sirius did a Crucible or two. And Rambler does not want to be stuck with 5 Dragon Barrel bosses as the block.
No. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I thought 5 Dragon Barrel bosses could be a pretty. It's a little out there, obviously.
Yeah.
But a pretty decent play, all things considered.
Yeah, I actually think this is the winning play from Sirius too. He's going Box Needle. Go clean up Box Needle. Clean up the early shit. There's still some early stuff on the board.
Take care of column 3 before it even really exists as well.
Yeah. I could definitely see Rambler going Putrid Trio after this.
Yeah.
So once this Crucible Knights blocks happen, the only 2 bingos left are both columns for column 2 and column 3 for Rambler.
Row 2 is...
Oh, and row 2, yes.
Row 2 is kind of weird, though.
Yeah, row 2 is very weird.
Rambler
this has been a great game.
20,000 to square up with the Crucible Knight. You'll love to see it. Is that Godric's Remembrance?
Yeah.
What a move.
Second Crucible down.
Quick work, honestly.
Yeah, this has been a really, really fun game. Sirius, Rambler Sirius had the early game. Rambler kind of tactically outplayed him though, was able to get that bingo threat, and then Sirius greeting with, insurmountable pressure in his face, finding the strength to greed and now evening this game up, and this is going to be a crazy end game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, Rambler stole the early game, put himself in a really strong position, and Sirius found maybe the one play that drug him right back to a 6-6 tie game. I don't know if there was much else Sirius could have done that would have worked there.
Yeah, because it's about to be 7-7-2. Rambler's a bit ahead on map.
Yeah. I don't think it's significant.
Yeah.
Sirius can grab Fort Faroth pretty quick. He actually is probably closer to Fort Height than Rambler is now.
Looks like Sirius is going Celia. You know, depending on how quick Rambler kills this Crucible, it could be a Putrid Trio race. Because Rambler did set up the Millicent Church Grace, so he's progression-wise ahead.
Yeah, and this is actually a really unique Crucible Knight. He's kind of tanky. But he has the interesting sort of Dragon Fire move.
Yeah, this guy did screw Snowy, the last undefeated, in the semifinals of the Rookie Rumble. Only mentioning it because Snowy's the last undefeated, and we are obligated to bring him back on everyone's level.
Oh yeah.
Knock him down a peg.
Rambler pretty good in this fight so far.
If he decides
a little bit of health.
If he decides to contest Putrid Trio, there's Crucibles. So Sirius is not actually going Putrid Trio. He's just going for Faroth.
Smart. Seaside Runes, maybe.
Yeah, I think they might
Rambler.
both be going Altus.
This is probably the moment. You have 5 Altus squares, I believe I counted. Magnus, Perfume only, Eleonora, 5 bosses, and Falling Star Beast. So yeah, 5 squares left.
Rambler
Realistically,
annihilate. Oh, he survives on 1. All right, there you go. Yura goes down.
Serpent Bone.
Woo! Yeah, baby. That's what it's all about.
Fucking hate that weapon.
So yeah, 7-7 game.
7-7 game. And if you look at just like kind of what's left on the board here, you have the 5 squares in Altus. You have 3 in Caelid Dragon Barrow between Trio, Godskin Apostle, and then Caelid Dragon Barrow bosses. Rick still on the board is kind of an out there weird one.
Yeah.
2 Misbegotten and Great Ghost Glovewort as well. Those 3 squares are... we'll probably see one of those at the end of this game if it goes late majority. I imagine they're both going to take advantage of Altus and Caelid. And finding a way to squeeze in 2 Misbegottens. I mean, I guess that actually might come full circle if they go Altus, Radon into duo, right?
And they're going to be pretty even on Dectus. Rambler will be slightly ahead. Also, obviously, if the first square in Altus is Eleonora, Rambler's ahead because he killed Yura.
Yep.
And he has a perfume bottle. Sirius doesn't.
Yeah, so 2 squares that he's a touch ahead on there.
That's actually a great question, Raw. I don't know if you have because there's 3 options for Great Ghost Glovewort. One in Mogwin, one in After the Dragonkin, and one with Fingerslayer Blade. If you kill Magnus, I actually don't know which one's better. The only reason why I would say that it ends up being the one at Noxtella is because I would most of the time, if Lord of Blood is not on the board, players will kill Vare for the for the Bloody Fingers. And as a result, probably lock themselves out. Considering that it is faster to route in killing Vare, I would imagine that just Dragonkin is faster. But that is a really good question.
I missed the question.
Is GGG and Mogs viable if Magnus is killed, or is Dragonkin still faster?
Dragonkin's still faster, especially for Rambler at this point. Simply because he has the run from the painting. I mean, if we take the longest run they both have, Debate Parlor, Teleport to Muriel, Run Down, that's probably still faster than running to Vike, running back, and running through Mogwin, I have to imagine.
Rambler
Maybe
is
not.
going to go grab the Physic here. So actually Sirius might be ahead of Altus in Altus. This is why I was surprised Rambler didn't grab Third Church earlier. when he was like 90% of the way there.
Yeah, an interesting choice. That's probably one of those quick pivot moments.
Yeah.
You suddenly feel the pressure, right? When something happens on the board and you get some information.
I think he wants Physic specifically for two things. A, the charged attack tier, and B, for Crystallian Trio. Because you don't want to bonk. So he wants Int. And a Sacred tier is good.
Yeah. Sacred tiers are like not something you generally go out of your way to get, but the more you can route them in, the better you feel. A +3 flask is so much better than a +0.
Where's Sirius going?
There's the merchant down here, right?
Does the merchant sell something? Does he sell Trina's lilies?
Sells Bloody Fingers.
Bloody Fingers.
I've never seen that merchant used for those before.
He also does sell Trina's lilies.
Yep.
So that could have been good. He didn't have the money, but that would also have been good for Apostle in the Divine Tower. That guy's a menace if you sleep him. Like, I think unless you have a +6 and a lot of Vig, you should probably be going sleep every time.
Yeah, I don't know if I haven't kept track of every Golden Order match, but I think most of the players have just decided I'm not wasting the time getting sleep.
Yeah,
Which is insane.
The only time I remember sleep, I know Stocko likes sleep. I know Dino slept him in that game, in that one game where he was forced into doing it, like against ASIM. He did it like minute 40. He slept him.
Yeah, you kind of have to there.
Yeah. Raw Light, the portal to Magnus is actually slower. If you're rushing Magnus, it's faster to go by you basically go from the Grace by Gillica, the Erdtree Gazing Hill, and then there's a Spirit Spring that you take up.
Yep.
Also, you probably want to set up that Grace anyways for Full Grown. Sirius does have both halves of Dectus, yes. Looks like Rambler's eyeing Perfume Bottle first.
One moment on my end. Quick
You're all
tech
good?
difficulties.
Your stream go down?
No. I'm just having some
Oh.
issues with my chat here for some reason.
Yeah, I noticed the shared chat got disconnected. I just reconnected it. Rambler's actually, so the Deadly Poison Perfume Bottle is somber, and Rambler's actually going to upgrade it here as he goes for it. I do like Magnus a lot from Sirius as a first one, as a first Alta square, because it does block the final bingo for Rambler, that, or one of the two final bingos being that column 2. Now Rambler can try to push row 2, especially because at this point, it's the deeper it gets, obviously the more viable it becomes, and there is synergy. Godskin Apostle and the Divine Tower of Caelid is obviously a Caelid Dragon Barrel boss.
Yep. It is, funnily enough, a lot of times 5 bosses and Caelid Dragon Barrows on the board. With that, you don't see Apostle get squeezed in there for whatever reason.
It's probably the worst, like outside of, I don't know, the Tree Spirit. It's one of the worst in all of Altus. No horse tech from Rambler. Actually, really great damage here. It is +3, I suppose.
Yeah, that's not bad. We aren't seeing horse tech here from Rambler.
And now he has the Deadly Poison.
But for those that don't know, if you know the perfume bottle move set, you'll know Rambler is one-handing the poison perfume bottle. This is a new square, obviously. We added perfume bottles into the game, and the fastest way to actually use them at this low of a level on Gillica is to one-hand them, because the attacks are so much faster, and they're also more vertical, so you're getting a better hitbox on her. And it leads to more consistency. There we go.
There's perfume bottles only for Rambler.
Interesting. Oh, fuck me. Wie forst er mich eigentlich immer in diese Dummsposition? Kann man das mir mal erklären?
I think Sirius. I don't know if how good my German is, but I think he said something to the effect of he forced me into a dumb position.
That, I mean, whether or not he said that, it is true.
I heard dumb position, which tells me dumb position. I don't know if that's
right.
Like
dumb position.
But that's what it sounds like.
That's a good guess, Tooze. That's a good guess. I like that. I mean, yeah. Magnus here is...
Yeah, the reason why Sirius is going Magnus first is because he wants the block. Like, he wants the block on the column 2.
Yeah. Also, you can get the Somber 6. Go grab a Somber 5 and Kaled. Godskin Apostle's less annoying with a Somber 6, I guess. Still awful.
Malta directly translated. Thank you, Malta. He said, "How does it happen I always end up in such a bad position?"
I ask myself the same thing every day, Sirius.
Yeah, because Sirius is... I mean, there was the death to Margit in Red Wolf, but overall has played really well. Rambler just... Tactics. And also the Renala...
Yeah, stealing Rhea out from under Sirius is the big thing.
Yeah.
Sirius going to Stormveil and having the extra death to slow him down really was a problem.
Rambler's fighting Eleonora. We're going to stay here with Sirius for this Magnus attempt. He's one shot with no heals. Oh, great roll. And strafe. Nicely done by Sirius there.
That was a great clutch right there.
Don't let her heal, Rambler. Shit.
That Dragonfire is something else.
All right, Rambler gets that. I think Sirius is going Putrid Trio. No, he's going for the Somber 5. Rambler gets Peeler. Doesn't matter unless he wants levels.
Yeah, it's pretty useless Peeler on this board at this point.
Yeah, because there's no stat dump, no economy squares. Also, what's his face is not the Grail. Mama Grail is not a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is health for Apostle.
Yeah, it is an easy way to level up your health. Probably.
Rambler's going to go set up full grown here. Then I would imagine pivot out. I bet he pivots into Rick Fisting. I think Rick Fisting is starting to look really good if you're a Rambler.
Hey, yo.
Pause.
But yeah, no, he's probably going to go fist Rick pretty violently, I'd imagine. It's just a quick, easy play here. It's one of the last quick plays left on the board.
Yeah. I said what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%.
Yeah, no, that was a valid way of saying what you were trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I understood you. The people understood. They knew. They're just pretending it's weird.
Rambler definitely sees Magnus. Is he thinking Altus bosses?
Yeah, I mean, you got Noble over here. It's a quick fight. I think Sanguine Noble is arguably the fastest Altus boss not named Gillica in terms of actually fighting it.
I mean, Altus boss is actually a decently quick square when you already have one dead. I'm just surprised to see him push this when there is like Rick and Misbegotten bosses and Trio on the board.
Well, you could squeeze a Misbegotten boss into your Altus bosses here. That is also relatively quick. It's a bit of a long run to that. Misbegotten Perfumer catacomb, but it's a
Yeah.
very cool catacomb. There actually is some synergy here, shockingly, with Misbegottens.
And full grown, if you
Yeah, you have full grown as well. I mean, that's 3 squares. That would put Rambler at 12. He would just need to go get GGG, actually. There is a path to victory here exclusively in Altus, ignoring Trio, Caelid Boss, Godskin, and Soldier of Godric. I think it's actually really hard to stop. Because GGG is just not going to be on Sirius's radar.
Yeah.
Misbegottens will not be on his radar, and you're far enough ahead that you can probably read Altus here for full-grown bosses and the extra Misbegotten boss. That's a pretty strong path to victory for Rambler, actually, I think.
He's running to Wormface now.
Yeah. And it's very easy for us to see that because we see that Sirius pivoted out of Altus.
I mean,
obviously, he marked Mangus, so...
He is ahead one, so he can't afford to trade squares. He might kill a couple bosses and then go do Rickfist, with the idea of basically saying, as long as I get one of the two, it's fine.
Yeah.
Also, by doing Magnus, Sirius does now have a weapon advantage.
Yep, he does have the +6 instead of the +4, which
will matter for Apostle and Full Grown.
100%. And it'll make Trio faster. I mean, not get it twisted. This fight can be very long and annoying.
Apostle and Caelid just sucks. That's why he's not going for it. And he's also, I mean, partially banking on the fact that Rambler doesn't go for it, right? By doing Trio, he also does make progress towards 5 bosses in Caelid as well.
If Godskin Apostle and Divine Tower is not the last square marked, I will be kind of shocked.
It could be Full Grown or GGG.
I suppose.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying the boss sucks. I'm just saying, like, and it's not that the Apostle's a bad boss. It's just obviously for bingo purposes, right?
Yeah,
when I say something sucks, I'm speaking specifically for bingo.
Yeah. In terms of actual difficulty, Godskin Apostle, Moog, Lord of Blood, and Valiant Gargs are by far the 3 hardest bingo squares. I don't think it's very close. I don't know if anything else is on par with those 3 squares. And Apostle might be the most egregious.
Full Grown's tanky in the same way, but an easier boss.
Yeah, I think everyone's a little more familiar with that fight.
Yeah, especially because you have to be so good at basic Falling Star Beasts for bingo, right? No, Rambler's just continuing to rush the Caelid the Altus bosses.
I don't care about word. I got the
talisman. Might as well. It's very fair to assume you have a lead here if his first mark is Mangus the God.
Right.
Well, Sirius with 1 left to clean up. I love his use of the square off sword this late in the game on these guys, even with Alabasters.
Super smart, especially because you can't wield Alabaster, so you'll bonk.
So break him first and then come at him when you can hit right through him. Great move.
When Rambler sees this Putrid Trio mark, he might pivot. There's that. Rambler's gonna see it.
That might be...
Yeah, it goes to Rick.
Yeah, it's Rick time. Here we go.
Sirius not going Rick.
No. And I know it's 9-9, but the path to victory here feels much more clear for Rambler than for Sirius.
Yeah. Because Sirius, so they both need, I think Rick is a huge one, actually.
Yeah, Rick is really important right now.
It's just like, to me, their prio is pretty clear, right? Like, Rambler has prio on Full Grown and Altus bosses. Sirius has prio on Caelid bosses and Apostle, right? That's also more clear that's clear to us and Rambler. Less clear to Sirius, right? Sirius doesn't really know what Rambler's been doing since he did Perfume Bottle. So as a result, basically there's 3 squares that I see being fought over. Fixed Rick, GGG, and Misbegotten bosses.
Yeah, and those were the 3 I called earlier that were out of the way and harder to work with. It's like, because you can make full grown work with bosses, you can make apostle work with bosses, so you know, getting one of those signals prio or you finish it and double mark. Oh Jesus, serious, almost fell off.
Kind of close.
But those 3 squares of Misbegotten, GGG, and Soldier of Godric like don't work well.
Yeah.
Misbegotten could work with Altus if Rambler wants to go kind of out of his way.
Or Kaled if you do Radon and then Crucible Knight duo, but that's pretty slow. It would have been more viable, I think, when Crucibles was on the board or pre-Altus.
Yes. 100%.
Rambler's doing a good job here of fisting. Sirius climbing up the tower.
Yep, it's quite the long run here to the tower. I'm not sure how familiar most chat is with fisting Rick, but you may be wondering why they're not using charge attacks or backstabbing. A lot of people have done a lot of nerdy work on this fight to find out tap heavy attacks, tap R2s, are by far the fastest way of doing damage.
Nice skip there by Sirius, by the way.
Oh. He's doing the skips. Last one's a lot of fun. That's a big fall.
Rambler needs to be careful. He might want to heal. He's getting dangerously close to dying to Rick.
Can't heal it, Rick. It's a matter of honor.
It's fair enough.
He's about to finish it up. There you go.
All right, there's Rick fisting. And Sirius is going in. Rambler is now going to full ground. If he gets full ground, that would be his 5th Altus boss as well, because he's done Gillica, Sanguine, Wormface, and Altus Apostle. Actually, no, he didn't do Altus Apostle yet. He set it up, though.
Damage is okay.
And then GGG is still very much his square. And he's the better grace for it. And here you can see why me and Who's were kind of hating on this fight. Or at least calling it very difficult. This guy is beefy. Oh my gosh. A little greedy there, but it pays off for Sirius.
I will say, I do think most players agree that it actually gets easier in Phase 2.
Yeah.
Some of his Phase 2 special
attacks repunishes.
Yeah. Like this one, you can just stand behind him and nothing hits you. Nice job by Sirius there.
Yeah,
this is the repose.
Really good work.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's practiced this. You know, if you remember earlier on in the season, he lost a game. Basically, in a Apostle race, he lost the game to Ginger. I would not be surprised if he's practiced it. Basically, saying like, yeah, this guy's never going to kill me again.
What the fuck? How is he not staggering?
It's close right there. Heals to full.
Rambler's back in Celia.
Interesting.
Trying to please save is so fucking annoying. Just smack him in the face, man.
Rambler might be going Apostle too, but gonna get sniped.
It'll be too little too late here. There's Apostle into finishing
Or
would have
Caled
just won him
bosses.
the game. And surely you have to let go of the Caelid boss's dream here.
Yeah, you know you're at least down 2-0. All right, Rambler's going full grown.
Or
I think Sirius might be going GGG.
GGG.
I like GGG Great Ghost Skull Void. I actually like this a lot by Sirius.
Perhaps a bit of a bold move, but yeah, really good.
I mean, sitting on your Caelid boss is prio, basically saying I don't think Rambler's going to contest this, and then going GGG.
Yeah, this is going to be a... we might end up seeing 2 Misbegottens as the last square on the board here.
I think so. Well, it depends who wins. I think if it's Sirius that ends up winning, my guess is we get in a situation where GGG goes to Sirius, Rambler gets 5 bosses in Altus and full grown, and then they're erasing the Misbegotten bosses with Sirius having Caelid Dragon Barrow in the back pocket.
Yeah. And if Radahn isn't dead, I think the fastest 2 Misbegotten bosses for them are going to be the Perfume or Catacomb and Scaly. Yeah,
by the way, this has been an incredible game. Very back and forth, very high level.
Oh, yeah. These two played exceptionally well.
Rambler does not have Insane Flask, and his Alabaster is only +4. Now, because Alabaster is a gravity-type weapon, and Falling Full Grown is a gravity-type enemy, he will get bonus damage, but this is still not going to be great.
Yeah.
I also got to say, I know Rambler has practiced this a bit. There used to be a speed run that we did. It was Falling Star Beast %. You had to kill the Celia Falling Star Beast, the Altus one, and then Full Grown. I know Rambler ran that category a bit, so as well as his own bingo practice, definitely has some experience with this boss. I actually don't know, Saitari. I assume you still get the bonus damage if the weapon's unwieldable, but I'm not 100%.
I would guess you do. I can't imagine them tying that to the wieldability of the weapon. That feels like it would probably be innate.
Yeah. Oh, he also has tier. He has tier, so
it will be wieldable. I think the other thing here is Rambler, as a longtime bingo player, Falling Star Beast is very easy for him. And I mean, the full grown adds 2 moves.
And he's going to use Pull Blade of the Bud here for
Rot.
Rot, yeah.
Rot Dog.
Rot Dog. Now, there is some tech you can do on this guy. You could run right by where he spawns and quit out if you want to. I know it's faster in a speed run. I don't think it's necessarily faster in bingo, but it will let you get some early punish. Because this is already horrible. This is the one thing I hate about this guy. I love this boss, but the arena's god-awful. It looks dope.
It's a rough arena. FromSoft never quite did figure out that we need flat arenas for their bosses.
They did in the DLC.
Yeah, this is true, actually. Oh, an awkward move right there. And so far, only 1 hit with the Pull Blade for Rambler. Be slow going here for
he keeps
the
missing,
initial start.
Overestimating the range on the Pull Blade.
Yeah, for as long as the weapon looks, that range is not very
well,
crazy.
The way you hold it is weird. It reminds me of when I was playing lacrosse. I played D-pole, meaning I had the 6-foot-long stick and was whacked people with it. And our coaches would always be like, don't choke up because you need extra range, and you choke up really hard with the way your character holds this weapon.
Yeah. It's not utilizing the range.
I mean, not that he can change the way his character... Rambo's gonna die. Oh my god, he lives.
What in the world? Rot, maybe not the move here.
Yeah, I think maybe just go Alabaster. Yeah, he is just going Alabaster.
Yeah, it's just time to let it go.
What the fuck is this?
Oh. I will take responsibility for that, Rambler. My bad. I said you'd be really good at Falling Star Beast.
I mean, also, to be fair, he got... The arena just did him no favors there.
No.
I mean, obviously, it's the same for everyone, but
It was also that pole blade kind of
Sucks.
baiting him with its range did not help at all.
Yeah.
He gets quite a couple of those that he missed. It probably does get rotted. He's just giving up. I'm surprised he's not drinking his physic, though.
Rambler, you gotta get close to him. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy who just wants some pets.
And the problem is, when you stand too far out, you get that... Rambler dies again. But you get that head smash attack, and that head smash attack is hell. That head smash attack is a problem. You don't want it. You need to bait out different better RNG. That's GGG for Sirius. Rambler might pivot to Misbegotten.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be time. What's Sirius gonna do?
I lost. I just
So he's gonna go finish up his Kaled bosses. Fair enough.
Well, he might finish his Kaled bosses with Radon and Misbegotten Duo, and then one more.
That would work really well. Meanwhile, Rambler with the stagger.
No, he's going Knight's Cav, Sirius is. We're gonna stay full screen with Rambler.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that to pose too much of an issue at this point for Sirius. Rambler sneaking at him in the crouch. Probably closing in on a stagger here, I have to imagine. There's a couple charged R2's jump attacks, and he's going to lose all that poise damage here.
Yeah. No, actually, you only did the single.
Here, you motherfucker.
Oh, he's pissed. You can hear him.
Yep. It's a great move to get.
That
Leads
shit's
to the
done.
stagger. It's a minor thing. You might be able to squeeze in a second attack there. What a dodge. Didn't even try to get out of range. Fully committed to it.
Sirius is going for the Semshade. This will be his 4th Kaled boss. Sirius, if Sirius could have won if he went Misbegotten bosses first.
Yeah, I think.
It's hard though, because Rambler hasn't marked a ton.
Yeah, you have no idea what Rambler's doing right now. Like, what was his last mark? Was
Rick fisting 11 minutes ago.
Yeah. And before that was Eleonora?
Rambler's gonna get this. Rambler gets full grown. Sirius is in a catacomb too. This is gonna come down to Misbegotten.
So schlecht für uns. Oh Gott.
Was that not Rambler's 5th Altus boss?
No, that was his 4th. He set up Apostle but didn't kill him.
That's right, that's right.
He did Sanguine, Wormface, and Gillica, and then full grown. That's 4.
Okay.
I get why Sirius wants to finish this out, but he probably should have mogged.
Yeah.
Also, Rambler needs to be careful here and not double prep. If Rambler tries to go for Kaled as well as Misbegotten, it could get dicey. And same for Sirius if Sirius tries to work on Altus too. Misbegotten will just win the game. They're both gonna be at 4 once Sirius gets this kill.
I'm gonna bang the table here. He needs to go Scaly and go hit the Perfumer's Catacomb. Because that just double marks the last 2 scrolls for him.
I don't think he does. I think you just go Leonine.
I think the other issue is that's significantly longer.
Is it? Maybe.
I mean, you just have to run to the Perfumer's Rune. Getting through it is less than 30 seconds.
Sirius is going Altus bosses, but Sirius doesn't have any.
Yeah. He won't have enough time to...
Right, like I'm not missing anything, right? He has 0.
No, he did Magnus and left, I believe.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I think you are right. Maybe it is the Perfumer Grotto.
I mean, it's the fastest Misbegotten Rambler can do as well. It's just faster than Landed straight up.
And Alabaster is actually going to be really good for them because Tap R2s destroy the Perfumer and
Playing like it's a really good weapon there. Because that's also something I don't think we see a lot. I believe Chris did it.
Chris was the first to do it, and to be fair, the way he did it did not really do it justice because he had some very weird routing that game. All right, that's one Altus boss down for Sirius.
Yep.
All right, Rambler gets Scaly. Let's see where he goes now.
Putting out, actually.
He's aggroed still in the tunnel while trying to warp. One of the miners is still attached to his hip. By quitting out...
Abel lost grace from Rambler.
Buying Stone Sword keys.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Let's go, Rambler.
If Rambler gets this, it will be a double mark.
Yeah, and Sirius, I mean, just does not have time to catch up on these bosses. I mean, you go Knight's Cav, Gillica. I don't think he grabbed the Grace over by Noble, so he could do that.
It's kind of crazy. I think we saw the same thing from Elliot early, in a couple games actually. Rambler went, I lost, and then started playing really well and destroyed the Falling Star Beast. For when he saw the GGG mark, he kind of for some reason just accepted that he'd lost and now is playing better. So for anyone who doesn't know, Rambler is going for the Crucible Knight. Sorry, not the Crucible Knight. The Misbegotten Perfumer duo, Misbegotten Miranda, or Misbegotten Perfumer, whatever.
Misbegotten Trisha.
Misbegotten Trisha, yes. And that will be his final Altus boss and his second Misbegotten boss.
Yeah, and it's a pretty underrated play. People do not use this catacomb often, but it works for duo trio bosses, duo trio Altus bosses, Misbegotten bosses. It's a catacomb. Usually that's not on the board this long, but
yeah,
it's a very strong catacomb that's just kind of out of the way and most people don't use.
I mean, I understand.
But if you know the skip, which Rambler almost certainly does, I think it takes maybe 20 seconds from the Grace to get to the boss room, including hitting the lever.
I also understand the logic for Sirius going Altus bosses. Like, I get from our perspective why it's hard to see, why it looks super, super strange. But for all Sirius is probably forgetting about that time in between Perfumer and Fisting Rick where Rambler didn't really mark anything, right? And in that time, he was killing Altus bosses to prep this square. But as far as Sirius knows, Rambler only has 2 Altus bosses dead. And if Rambler is going Misbegotten with Scaly Leonine, and he only has 2 Altus bosses down, he could win this square.
Yeah.
Rambler also missed he went for I can't tell if that was a skip or just a drop, but fucked it up.
Technically a skip. It's a very easy drop to hit down to the lever. It's actually going to be really close.
Because is that number 3 for Sirius?
Yeah. So Noble 4, probably Wormface 5, you have to imagine.
I gotta route that into the old boss's speedrun when I go back and do that. I didn't know about that.
This? Yeah. Makes this incredibly fast.
All right, if Rambler gets this will win the game, but it is a duo fight. This Perfumer hits hard and is easier said than done.
You always want to be careful with the Perfumer. So close on laying in.
Sirius is now at 4.
Oh, it's not going to matter. All that's left is a perfumer. And that'll be a double mark for Rambler. There it
That'll
is.
be a double mark and a win for Rambler.
GG's.
Yes!
What a game by both players.
That was a great game.
That was an incredible game by both of them. Congrats to Rambler. Very well deserved. Incredible game by both guys.
Yeah, Rambler clawed that out of an incredibly difficult start.
Yeah. I mean, it was back and forth the entire game. Like at one point it looked like, I mean, it was what, like 5-2 or 5-3 in Rambler's favor with a massive bingo threat. They both played so well. It was like an incredible game.
That's true.
Yeah.
It went from, all right, Sirius has made the right play. He's won it, to Rambler created the best possible counterattack he could have, to Sirius makes a psycho play to even it up on column 5. It was back and forth.
All right. We will bring Rambler in. I told Sirius he can jump into the call whenever he's ready. Rambler.
GG's, courtside. Hello.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Congrats, dude. What a crazy game.
What a crazy game.
Yeah.
I'm still trembling a little bit. Really.
Yeah, I mean that was an incredible game. Like your play at the start was, I mean, to lose Red Wolf but take all the other synergy out of Academy from Sirius was really, really strong. And then Sirius, you know, greeting everything he could out of before marking Garant was such a good play by him. It was an incredible game.
Yeah, I was thoroughly outplayed on that one. I thought I lost when he marked troll bosses, and I realized, okay, he's been prepping the column the whole time, so I'm gonna lose time at the best. And yeah, it was like such an amazing set of like tricks in this game.
Bro, Rambler, you fucked me so hard with that Renala play. You have no idea.
Were you going for it?
Dude, that imbued sword keys, I lost that because I was doing bolts on my way to one of them. If I would have not done bolts, I would have not been in that position because I already had one of them and I got the second one after bolts. And when you marked Renala, I just had to teleport to Renala.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the before Renala and I had the Kaled one. So when I got Renala, I went straight to 4 Belfries.
Yeah, when you marked it, I already had 2 of them. I just need to teleport and get to the third one before Renala.
Yeah,
and I was planning on doing that right there. Because I was saying, I can win this, I just need to not get fucking bingoed. So I was doing like all of these anti-bingo strats, doing like Line Guardians early, which is the stupidest thing ever. I hate those.
Which was the second one?
What?
The one on the way to Radon. The one on the way to Radon.
Oh, yeah. I see. I was so afraid that was that, because then you would have a better line on Misbegottens. I was so afraid of that.
Yeah, I
mean,
up
until the end right now.
Yeah.
You guys
just think about that guy.
You both played really well execution-wise, and also it was great to see, like, you know, Sirius gets Red Wolf, but Rambler is able to like kind of go against priority and take all the other Academy stuff, and you know he went really aggressive, and then Sirius, you go really aggressive with the column 5. Right, and you sniped Rambler you sniped Rambler on Death Root. You sent him to Crucibles, like you really outplayed him there, and then the end game was just back and forth and incredible. Really fun to watch.
Yeah, I was like that Falling Star that play at the end was kind of. I was banking on doing that last. Like I was going for Kaled bosses, like doing GGG, then Kaled bosses, and then full ground Falling Star as last square, because I didn't expect to go for that at all. Like I was banking on
because of Magnus.
No, just because people tend to not like that square.
Oh no, I love that boss, but I died twice. Like, it was all horrible this time. Like, I thought I would be able to rot it with the Romina's pole blade, but
that is actually decently good.
Yeah, and I upgraded to +4 for Godric, so I had it.
Yeah.
Like, I said, okay, if I can rot her, I win, even if this is a race. But I wasn't getting the hits. Like I was nervous, and I switched to Alabaster.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
And I kind of think like seriously, you marking GGG almost saved Rambler a bit, because Rambler had 2 less than ideal fights, and then right around the second death or whatever, that's when you marked GGG, and then Rambler just was like, I lost, and sounded very defeated, and then all of a sudden he had the fight of his life and destroyed him.
Yeah, when the pressure goes off and you think you lost, things improve, I guess.
Yeah. Also, doing Renala with that stupid finger weapon is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I got like when you were threatening that diagonal, I was killing Godric really fast and getting the remembrance weapon, and there was like the worst stuff ever in there. And I leveled the strength for. Yeah, I leveled the strength for. It was Matthias' weapon. It had like 22 faith, 22 int, and I knew like, okay, maybe if I just level strength, the damage is decent. But man, that thing sucks. Also takes so much stamina because of the colossal.
Oh, I love that weapon.
Yeah, if you can wield it.
But if you can use it, if you can use it.
It's a big caveat.
It's a big caveat. Like I went like I was like 15 seconds staring at my 2 options there. Was Romina's and was Axe of Godric. In hindsight, I don't know why I was staring at that, because it played perfectly, because the perfume bottle was deadly poison. I needed the arcane to use it. So why not, right? Like go for
makes sense.
The arcane
I didn't check
talisman.
that.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and then I really wanted to block column 2, because I was kind of scared about that, because I didn't add Altos yet, and I don't know, my character was not that strong. And then you threatened row 2, and I was like, well, fuck, I gambled wrong.
Yeah.
Were you doing bosses in Caelid now?
Yeah, I had 4, and then I was doing Altos bosses, and I was on my 5th when you marked it.
Oh, yeah, I thought I had to greet it. I did the perfumer Misbegotten.
Yeah, I thought about it.
I
was
had
hoping
4
it would
exactly
just,
so.
I was hoping going for the Misbegotten would waste enough time so I can get the 5 Alto square, but it just didn't.
Probably, yeah.
It was kind of close. I needed like at least like, I think a minute later I would have had that square.
Yeah, I had a very good fight. Like the perfumer never used the bubble, and so I basically kept hitting both of them with the alabaster. So
but alabaster sword is really good for that fight. Like the Misbegotten can't really move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, GG's, gentlemen, like genuinely an incredible game. I know we're gonna pick a match of the season at the end of it. I know this will be on the short list for sure. Congratulations to both of you, and we do got to get it flipped around because we got to start Stocko NVCC. But really well played, a hell of a match. Thank you for giving us the honor of calling it, and congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Good night, and have fun commentating.
Please become Elden Lord.